My name is Clifford Clarke, and I am the owner and president of C2 IT Advisors. And today we are going to read a book. It's called Where's Rodney? And this one is by Carmen Bogan, and it's illustrated by Floyd Cooper. And I always like to suggest that with any book there is just so much information. And so there's these lovely illustrations on the front, but also on the back. And there's usually some information on the inside of the book that may not necessarily be tied to the story itself. Well, it is tied to the story, but it's not part of the actual story that we'll read. And I always encourage anyone that gets a book to make sure you look at other things other than from the very first chapter to the end of the book, or from the beginning to the end section. So we're going to take a little dive on this great book. It's called Where's Rodney? Where's Rodney? Again, by Carmen Bogan, illustrated by Floyd Cooper. Rodney, where's Rodney? Once again, Rodney wasn't in his seat, and Miss Garcia had had enough. But Rodney had interesting things to do, like watch the big black bird soar over the cafeteria that smelled like yesterday's lunch, or catch a tiny pill bug creeping across the windowsill. He stood on his tippy toes to find the stray dog that bullied the neighborhood. Rodney was inside, but he wanted to be outside. Outside was where Rodney always wants to be. And you can see a nice picture of Rodney looking out the window, wanting to be outside. And many of you are probably like Rodney, hard to sit still in class, wanting to be outside. Ms. Garcia let out a long, deep breath. She stepped behind Rodney and tapped him on the shoulder. Rodney, join the class. The word of the week is majestic. Ms. Garcia said, majestic. Can you tell us what it means? Rodney looked around the classroom. There were a million eyes looking back. Nope. Miss Garcia took another deep breath. Rodney balanced on one foot like a pink flamingo. Sulin giggled and covered her mouth. Then he hopped into the air like a cricket. Cody chuckled. Then Rodney stretched out his arms like an eagle soaring high above. Sit down, Rodney, Ms. Garcia said. The whole class roared with laughter. There's a picture of Rodney having a good time. Okay, majestic means grand and beautiful. Rodney, if you can't do your work, you won't be able to go on the field trip to the park on Friday. But Rodney didn't care. He knew all about the park. It was a small, triangular-shaped patch of yellow grass next to the corner store at the bus stop. It had one large cardboard trash can and two benches where some grown-ups sat all day long. Yes, Rodney knew the park well. Anyway, Mama said to stay far from that park. Next page. When the 3 o'clock bell rang, Rodney ran outside. He darted across the street, past Ms. Jackson, the crossing guard. "Walk!" she yelled. But he ran. He ran past the corner store. He ran past the bus stop. Then he ran past the triangle-shaped patch of yellow grass and the 2 benches and the broken gate where the bully dog slept. You see Rodney running. Now he could see Mama peeping out the window. She opened the door and gave him a big hug. "I'm glad you're inside," she said, but outside is where Rodney wanted to be. Very early on Friday, the old yellow bus screeched, jerked, and rattled out of the school parking lot. Even before it reached the front gate, Sue Lynn and Amina were singing and playing clapping games. Everyone was excited, but not Rodney, and he knew that when they got to the park, they would all see that he was right. Parks are no big deal. The bus turned the corner onto 2nd Street, but Rodney thought that the bus driver must be lost because he drove past the bus stop, past the corner store, and even past the patch of yellow grass. Sue Lynn and Amina kept singing and clapping. The old school bus rumbled, rolled, and creaked, further and longer than Rodney had ever been. Rodney gazed out the window. He stared at the white lines in the middle of the great highway. He counted the big trucks that passed the bus. He leaned to see the birds floating above the field of tall, dry grass. He watched the people and the wide straw hat pick fruits and vegetables in neat rows. And there you can see Rodney riding the creaky yellow school bus and looking at the people picking fruits and vegetables in neat rows. The old bus clanged, coughed, and choked. It climbed higher and higher until a great mountain swallowed it whole. At the other end of the tunnel, the mountain spit out the old bus into a flash of sunshine. No one laughed. No one talked. No one wiggled. Sue Lynn and Amina even stopped singing. "Look, everyone," Ms. Garcia announced. "It's the park." And finally, Rodney was outside. There's Rodney and the rest of his classmates. They stopped and were getting off the bus. At the park, he was high. See Rodney on the top of a little piece of mountain. He was low, sitting quietly in the valley, enjoying the birds. He was big as he looked down on top of the anthill. And he was small compared to the very large tree. He was louder. He was quieter. He was faster and he was slower. Rodney was outside. more outside than he had ever been before. Here's Rodney enjoying the outside. The sun sank in the sky. It was time to leave. Some of the children chattered and giggled. Some munched on leftovers. Others dozed. Sulin and Amina sang more songs. "Where's Rodney?" Mrs. Garcia asked. Rodney was sitting quietly, gazing out the window. Mrs. Garcia sat beside him. "Do you like the park, Rodney?" "Oh, yes," he said softly. "It's majestic." And that is our story for today. Where's Rodney and his trip to the park? And I would encourage you to venture past maybe your neighborhood park to a large park like a state or a county park and get a chance to get outside like Rodney is where you'll find him. Where's Rodney? Well, he's probably outside in the park. Thank you.